What's good, everybody? Time for a DL short. I I got friends, my close people get tired of hearing me talk about this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I'm Bubble Boy, I'm Chicken Little. I'm like, hey man, the American economy is in trouble. I've been saying this for a while. I've been looking at the cost of housing. I've been looking at how people are just going into serious debt. No one's really making money except for the 1%, but everyone else, they're not really big earners, but everyone's out there living their best life. Like, bro, this is not sustainable. This cannot last forever. Now, I'm not saying that the correction has begun. I'm not saying that the everything bubble has burst. What I am saying is more and more people are seeing cracks in the system. So we're gonna check out this video real quick. This is Sister Ashley Pickens. She's out of Tennessee. She's in the real estate space. I believe she says she's the woman that actually, when there's a auction for a home that's been in foreclosure or something like that, she's the person at the auction that's like, going once, going twice, sold. I think she says that in this video. I've been watching her YouTube channel. Shout out to her. She's doing pretty good work over there. She's doing excellent work, to be honest with you. And she's given a perspective that most people don't get to see. And again, if it weren't for this technology, none of us will see this until it's way too late. I believe it's too late now. The correction is coming, and there's nothing the government can do about it. But let's check out our video.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Ashley Pickens here in Memphis, Tennessee. You guys, I've been in real estate since 2006 as a real estate agent, as a real estate broker, but y'all know me because I'm your auction mama. I auction off foreclosures at the courthouse. Yes, I'm the one that says going once, going twice, sold. So happy New Year, you guys. This is my first video of the new year. We've got so much to talk about. Happy 2020, 2025 is giving real 2020-ish vibes. We got a whole lot going on. Today is the 12th day of January, and baby, all done already broke loose across the country. Let me say that. But we'll talk about it. HUD just released its latest housing insecurity numbers. You know, I do a video on this every single month that they come out, you guys. And like I've said, these numbers have not changed in the last probably 4 years since COVID, right? We have all, and again, they have not changed. They actually have gone up a little bit. This month, HUD decided to put it in percentage form instead of putting it in a paragraph. But don't worry, I translated it for us. So let's talk about how many renters are behind, how many homeowners are behind. Fun fact, did you know for the last 6 months, the consecutive 6 months, more and more people are putting their mortgages in forbearance. So right now we have about 250,000 mortgages in forbearance. And
so what does that mean? That means those people can't pay their mortgage and they're kicking the can down the road. The key point here was Sister Ashley, and I see you, girl. You go, girl. and for you red pill dudes out there, for you simpletons out there, you know what I'm saying? No, I ain't gonna call you the simps. But for y'all too, but for the dudes who are out here paying attention on my red pill brothers, y'all noticed there's no ring on the ring finger with this sister right here. She's probably a little bit older, but she's successful. She's she's attractive. She's attractive. I mean, for you gotta put it in categories, but yeah, she's all right. She's fit. I'm looking around at her background. I see an elephant there in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. She's probably a Delta. That's a sorority. Deltas, I think their animal is elephants. I believe that's the Deltas. So, which is a black sorority. So she's probably college educated, all that good stuff, guys. So just saying, she got about 23,000 or so subscribers. Yo, if y'all trying to get on, y'all better go over there and subscribe to her now. Y'all better jump over there and comment now and try to get on, because I'm pretty sure she's gonna get to a point where she's doing seminars and stuff like that. And if she's not, I'm gonna reach out to her. We might be able to bring her down here to Florida to do some seminars and have her, expand and acknowledge, enlighten us on her space. But let's get back to what we came here to talk about. We're here to talk about people not being able to afford their rent, their mortgages, their car loans. That's what's going on. The numbers are spiking. People can't afford their credit cards. The numbers are spiking. This is just the beginning. We just started this year. And the numbers that she's going over are from last year, quarter four of 2024. like she said, these are lagging indicators. Bro, we are in for some serious trouble. Let's get back to the video.
It's just going up. So what's going on, y'all? Why is everybody putting their mortgage? Probably because they can't afford to pay it.
Exactly.
They probably cannot afford to pay it. Let's just call it what it is, right? It is 2025, so that means all these moratoriums have been lifted for veterans. They had a foreclosure moratorium until the end of 2024. So now, you guys, I can tell you right now, my auction schedule, they have been sending me. They already told me that I will be super busy for 2025 with auctions, and my schedule is already filling up for January. So
Wow.
I'll keep you posted on that. But let's talk about HUD's numbers. We got a whole lot to talk about today, y'all. Y'all know there's wildfires in California. Come on, I can get off. HUD's report. Here we go. Housing insecurities appear to be rising as of November, December, because it's a lag, okay? HUD's analysis shows that 12.8% or 5.9 million, 5.9, you just need to round up to 7, because you know how I say, 5.9 million renter households were behind on rental payments. It has been that number all year. We have been sitting at 6, even though it's probably closer to 8, all year. 6 million renters behind on rental payments, okay? Additionally, 4.4% or 2 million renter households feared eviction is imminent in the next 2 months.
That's insane. And when she talks about her rounding up, like she doesn't just round up to the closest number. She always adds 2. So if the closest number is 6, she won't round up to 6. She'll round up to 8. If the closest number is 8, she'll round up to 10, right? Because the information that we get is diluted. They don't want to scare people. This is how people try to protect Wall Street. The people on Wall Street are so far ahead of this thing, so the real money has already moved, but they don't want to spook the rest of the herd, because if they spook the herd, then there's a crash, and that leads to the next domino, which leads to the next domino, and so on. So that's why she's saying that. She's a very sharp lady. Don't clown her too much, guys, but that's what she means when she rounds up. She'll round up to the next whole number, but she'll add 2, right? So she rounds up to 6, it'll be 8.
The same as last period and year over year. So HUD sees it too. These numbers have not changed in the last couple of years. 6 million people are behind on their rent is where we have been. So landlords, investors, what are y'all doing out here? People are not paying rent. Next, let's talk about homeowners. Homeowners, 5.9% or 4.87 million. 4.87 million homeowners reported being behind on their mortgage payments, up from 5.4%, which is 4.47. So the month before we were at 4.47 million. Right now we're at 4.87 million. Okay.
It's like that's up 0.5%. That's a huge number, guys. And again, this is the beginning of the year, right? There are a lot of people who were able to get their returns pretty quick. They just, as soon as their tax information came in, they went right out and got their refunds. So that's going to buy them a month or two. Maybe they can catch up on some stuff, maybe not. By catching up means they can kind of get to even to where they're not behind anymore. But think about it. They're behind on their rent and or mortgage. They're behind on their car note, behind on their insurance, right? They let their insurance lapse, right? And then they're behind on, what else did I say? They're going to be behind on your housing costs, either rent or mortgage. They're going to be behind on their auto loan. They're going to be behind on their insurance. They're going to be behind on their credit cards. So when they get that chunk of money, what are they going to pay first? It's kind of like the triage thing. You got to keep the house going, right? You got to keep a roof over your head. So you got to pay your rent or your mortgage first. Then you got to get insurance because you're vulnerable. You can lose your car. You can get arrested for driving around without insurance. So you got to get that insurance. Then you got to pay that car note. At least bring it up to current. Then the last thing you're going to turn your attention to will be to your credit cards. So you see how when you're drowning in debt, there's really no way out. You just can't afford to pay stuff. And those are the people who are getting returns. A lot of people kind of messed up and they're not getting returns. They're not going to get a tax return. So what are they going to do? So the first quarter of 2025 are people who are just barely holding on by a string. They got that tax return money coming, but that's going to run out pretty quick. So Q2, Q3 is probably when we're going to see the real nasty stuff. That's just my guess, guys.
Okay. And a year ago, we were at 4.2. So the numbers are going up on homeowners being behind on their mortgage. It says over 1 million homeowners fear foreclosure is imminent. Last year, this time, we had 870,000 people fearing foreclosure, you guys. Subprime and FHA mortgage delinquencies have also increased, with subprime delinquencies at 18%, 5.4 million, up from 17%. I can read for sure.
You good, girl. Keep going.
From 17% last period, while FHA delinquencies rose to 12.6%, which is 2.02 million. 12.6% FHA loans are delinquent right now.
Wow.
You guys, that's what is going on.
FHA, those loans where you get that reduced down payment, you don't get that full 20%. Of course, you got to live in a home. This is, a lot of people that we talk to is like, hey, get yourself a multifamily, get an FHA loan. Why? Because you'll be in one unit. You can rent out the other 3 units. You're going to, that building could hopefully cash flow. You're living for free and then your tenants are paying for everything. But here's the thing. If you got 3 tenants and they can't make the rent, that rent still falls on you. So maybe these are multifamilies that are in trouble, maybe, but still your mortgage shouldn't be that steep. So you should be able to cover that mortgage. But if you lost your main job and the property was your side hustle, and then maybe you're out there doing Uber or something for a little extra cash, it could be a stretch. But don't you see how all this is forming up? It's like the perfect storm again. It's all forming up. This is why they keep talking about bubbles. America, the bubble we're dealing with now is the everything bubble. It's not a credit bubble. It's not a tech bubble. It's not a real estate bubble. It's everything. And this is why I am fearful of this correction.
As we go into 2025, you know how I feel. You got to multiply by 2. And probably you got to multiply by 3 with everything going on with 2025 right now. You guys, shout out to everybody from coast to coast, you guys. You're definitely in my prayers, thoughts, everything. From California to, I know people are still trying to recover in North Carolina from the hurricane, you guys. So it's just things going on everywhere. And we need to discuss this, you guys. We need to discuss what's going on, because have you already heard? This is not how I get down. And if this is what you do, like, no shade to you. Have you heard there are already investors making offers to people in California for their land?
Of course.
I'm talking about they still haven't even been allowed back into their houses or neighborhoods yet. And people are making offers on their land right now. Somebody said they got an offer for $750,000 on their land. Y'all, we got to talk about it. It's just so much to talk about.
And think about that, $750,000. I would imagine that would be for a parcel of land in Pacific Palisades. There were fires everywhere, and there was big devastation in Altadena. Altadena is like right next door to Pasadena, out that way. $750,000 for a parcel of land there sounds extremely high, because the home is probably only a couple million, if that, maybe like 1.4 or something like that, between 800 and maybe 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 million, somewhere in there. But in the Pacific Palisades, yeah, someone's plot of land, I can see someone offering $750,000 for that plot of land. Then they invest another $200,000-300,000 building a home there. And then if and when the property values come back, they'll be looking at 3.4 million, 4 million and up on that investment. The thing is, how long will it take for those numbers to come back? Will they come back? That's the question.
What's going to happen with everything that's going on? The real estate market is frozen right now. Interest rates, today is January 12th, 2025. Interest rates are sitting at 7%.
Yep.
7%, right? So everybody who was told to date the rate and marry the house, right now, you guys, the average rejection rate for mortgage applications increased by 8.6%.
Wow.
20.7%. Y'all, these people who are applying for refinances are getting rejected for refinances. That's what I was saying when everybody was yelling, date the rate, marry the house. I'm like, y'all don't even know what it takes to apply to do a refinance. It's not that easy. It's not like you're ordering a cheeseburger and french fries. You got to do that whole loan process over again. And they are rejecting people. So imagine people who thought they was dating the rate. No, y'all married the rate and the house. Right here, the average rejection rate for mortgage refinance applications increased to a decade plus high of 25.6% this year.
That's 1 in 4 get rejected.
Probably higher than that, right? Because they're not reporting everybody that they rejected, right? But 25% of people applying is getting rejected for refinance because you guys, people don't understand. It's like you're applying for that loan all over again. They're going to run your credit. If you lost your job, it's a wrap. If you're struggling to pay a mortgage that you thought you was dating the rate, and mess around and pay your mortgage late and see how hard it hits your credit and then try to refinance. It's not going to happen.
This is what I'm talking about. She's hitting on some key points here, guys. A lot of people, their wealth is in their home. So let's take those people in California, right? Pacific Palisades or Altadena. So you got people who are sitting there, you're in Pacific Palisades. Let's say say your family bought 35, 40 years ago. So they bought that home in Pacific Palisades for, let's say, $200,000, $250,000, maybe $300,000, right? We're making up numbers, guys. We're just making up numbers. But let's say they got in at that price. Fast forward to today, that house is worth the median in Pacific Palisades, which is around $3.4 million. Wow, that's a great investment. Now, are those people millionaires? Yeah, on paper they are. But remember, they bought way back in the day. They might have been superintendents at a sanitation plant, or they might have been teachers, or might have been a low-level lawyer, or might have been like an air traffic controller. Like, who knows what they were doing? But they weren't bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in income. They were probably making six-figure-ish. Probably making less than that. So you got this house. Your loan is for $300,000. The value of the house is $3.4 million. Are you a millionaire? No, because that's just on paper. That money isn't realized. That value isn't realized until you actually get the money. So is that house now worth $3.4 million if it's burned to the ground? You see what's going on here. And will that person be able to today's code? No. Now, the vast majority of people in Pacific Palisades, they can do. The vast majority of people in Pacific Palisades are very, very wealthy. Again, just making a number here, we would probably say 80% of the people in Pacific Palisades can afford to rebuild if they want to. If it's going to take a few years, it doesn't matter. They can maintain two properties, right? And with the help of their loans, not loans, but with the help of their insurance, they should be able to get through this. Now, that person who got in on a good deal, can that person maintain the two households? Can that person wait it out until the house can be rebuilt? Can that person fight insurance for the money they're supposed to get? Probably not. So you're looking at 80% of the folks who are going to be fine, 20% going to struggle. Now you look at Altadena. Altadena, the average folks live, and though they're average, the median house out there is probably about $1 million. Can that person afford to wait it out and pay for everything that needs to get a house going and get the materials and get the design? Can they afford to do that and maintain their home and, that burned down and maintain where they're living in the short term? The answer is probably not. Let's make up percentages out there. I would say the opposite would be true. I would say maybe 20% of people didn't afford to wait it out and rebuild, whereas 80% of people out there will not be able to do it. They'll be forced to sell. And that's why it's important. She brought up people getting offers on their land. Pasadena, the Altadena area, maybe the offer be for a couple $100,000, whereas down there in Pacific Palisades, it'll be like $750,000 and up. and people will be forced to do something, forced to make a move. This is very important. Again, I believe this is the cracks in the system that I'm talking about. Something's going to give.
2025 is coming in with an attitude. Let's say that. Now, let's talk about, okay, last thing, and I'm going to wrap it up, you guys. Last thing. These wildfires in California. You guys, like, first of all, my heart goes out to people, right? When you lose everything, you leave, you just have the clothes on your back and you come home and you don't have any sticks and stones is what you come back to. Y'all, craziness. But then, so my thoughts and prayers, because I know I have people from the West Coast. I get a lot of love from California. So you guys just know you're in my prayers, thoughts, everything. But then to hear that, so first of all, California has some of the strictest building regulations, right? So we're knowing a bunch of these houses will not be able to be rebuilt again, right? They've been there so long, grandfathered in there. But now when they go back to rebuild, you know, they're not going to let those people rebuild that close to the ocean again and on those hills. You know what I mean? And then to see how insurance companies have dropped these people. Y'all, insurance, it's a scam.
Facts.
It's a scam. I know like Ashley, really insurance. Y'all, but I mean, maybe life insurance is okay, right? We all need life insurance. But health insurance,
auto,
PMI. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Who has ever had a payment covered by private mortgage insurance? PMI. That's the biggest scam out here. But they dropped those people, right? Right before the wildfires came, you guys. And I mean, those people. So, okay, here's the question I'm posing to everybody. I put this in Instagram, every place. What would you do? Okay, this is what, like, on Nickelodeon. What would you do? Y'all remember that show?
No.
Your house is burned down, right? Think about this. Think about this. You've lost your house. You do not have insurance. You still paying a mortgage on this house, right? First of all, what happens to the mortgage, right? Are you going to keep paying a mortgage, right? And I mean, it's California, so your mortgage not like $800. Your mortgage probably like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, right? More than that, y'all. I'm thinking Memphis. This is California.
$8,000 to $12,000 in
ridiculous,
places.
Right?
Yeah.
You're paying a mortgage. No house. You cannot afford to rebuild it because you don't have insurance. And now you're trying to, I mean, you lost everything. So you still trying to rebuild, you guys. Like, you got kids. Y'all got to buy clothes, pots, pans, everything. And you got a $5,000, $6,000 mortgage. You still going to pay it?
Answer is no. They can't pay it. We were just talking about that a moment ago. Can you maintain two households? Can you hold it down where your place was burned to the ground? And can you get the new spot and do everything that she said? Buy new clothes, buy furniture, buy pots and pans. You might have to buy a car. Your car might have got burned down. You got to replace everything. Like she said, new clothing, new everything. Think about that for a moment. Who can afford to do that? The 1% can, right? Some people at the very top of the bottom 99 can probably do it, but regular folks can't. So what happens? You're going to have to cut a deal. You're going to have to walk away from it. You're going to have to file bankruptcy. You're going to have to do something. And a lot of this is what I'm talking about, guys. It's starting. Cracks in the system, right? It's starting. And this is going to get really bad. And the same thing is going on out here in Florida. There are people who can't even get permits through so they can start working on their homes. There's so much fraud going on down here. The feds are down here heavy, going in, looking at people. They're catching folks who did some fraudulent stuff from the last storms and other claims. They're coming in like, oh, you took this money 10 years ago. You never did the work that you said you did. That's fraudulent. So we're not going to give you this money to help you fix your house now. And half the house is already, blown open. The walls are missing. And you're like, no, I'm sorry, I could pay for that. Nah, matter of fact, you're going to pay for that because we're going to look into it. It's going to be a criminal case. It's a lot of fraud going on down here in Florida, man. And it's not just because of these latest storms. Just people down here always be just trying to hustle. California, same thing. It's going to be all kind of problems out there. All kind of problems. And this is going to be the beginning. Who's holding the loans on all these homes? The banks. So there's money's going to stop coming into the banks. You see, one domino hits the next domino, which hits the next domino. It's crazy. Let's listen to the last little bit right here.
I'm just asking, right? Because you got to pay to stay in what? The Airbnb, the hotel, motel, clothes, food. You got to, just live, right? Just the basic cost of living in a new place, uprooting your family. And you got this mortgage sitting over here for this sticks and stones over here. Are you going to keep paying that mortgage? Would y'all keep paying that mortgage? So it's basically like you got two houses you got to pay for wherever you're living, wherever you relocated to, and the sticks and stones over here. So so would y'all keep paying it? And then think about the people who are like, they can't afford to pay it, right? You can't afford to pay for some land, right? Because you got this mortgage that you just taken out or taken out a couple years ago for the next 10, 15 years. You guys, and they said building permits take like years to get approved in California. Years. So here's the question. One, are you going to keep paying the mortgage? Two, if everybody decides to stop paying the mortgage, what about the banks? Like, what are the banks going to do? I just saw an article that said 40% of the people in Hurricane Helene, 40% of those people are delinquent. Their loans are delinquent.
And she misspoke. She meant to say more than 40,000 borrowers with homes in the path of Hurricanes Helene and Milton became delinquent on their mortgage, but performance overall remains historically strong, which is a fact. That's what's going on down here. So she meant to say 40,000 borrowers, not 40% of borrowers. So 40,000, that's still a big number, and that number is growing. So you see that here in the Tampa area, Clearwater, St. Pete. You see that up here. People can't afford to transition and live somewhere else, pay for an Airbnb or a long-term rental or hotels or whatever they're doing. They still got to commute back and forth to work. They got to take care of their families and buy stuff that was lost. They didn't lose everything like in the fires, but they lost a lot here. And they just weren't able to keep up with those mortgages. So 40,000 borrowers became delinquent. They're still trying to make it happen, though.
Because, baby, they done stop paying. You know what I mean? They in a hotel or Airbnb. They trying to buy clothes. You know what I mean? Like 40% of Hurricane Helene loans are delinquent.
40,000 loans.
So that, plus now these wildfires. So what's the banks going to do? Are we bailing out banks in 2025, you guys?
It's going to be a bail-in.
Are we bailing out banks in 2025?
The answer is no. It's not going to be a bailout. This time it's going to be a bail-in. We'll be talking about that as the week goes on. If you don't know what a bail-in is, you can look it up or check out George Gammon. He was talking about bank bail-ins a couple years ago. So check out George Gammon. I talked about it on this platform, but do your research. A bail-in, and basically that's when the bank just takes your money, so they don't go out of business. The federal government cannot afford a bailout. So if it goes bad, which I think it will, it's going to be a bail-in. So let me know in the comments below what you think. I'm definitely going to link this video in the comments below. Please go over and check out Sister Ashley Pickens. Like and subscribe over there. Like and subscribe right here. Let's keep the conversation going. If you're an insurance person and you know how insurance works, and please explain to me how it really works, because I really believe it's a scam. Tell me where I'm wrong, right? If you're an expert, please let me know, or you just have more knowledge in that field, because I do not. Realtors out there, let me know. I was making up numbers there. I was making up percentages of people in Pacific Palisades who could probably afford to rebuild 80%, and about 20% of them can't, and they're going to probably lose everything. Let me know what your numbers are. If there are any real numbers out there, which wouldn't be out there this soon, but if there are any real numbers out there, when we get our hands on them, we'll definitely post them. Guys, there are cracks in the system. It has begun. It absolutely has begun. I'll be talking to y'all later. We'll continue to do this. I'll go live again on Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, every Monday and Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we go live here on our Really Want to Know podcast. Thursday, we're going to be talking about the great Professor Galloway. We need to protect that man. We're going to break down what he's been saying, his warning to the 1%. And I think it's really good message. I can't wait to do the show. I'll see you guys then. Peace.